So finally, I'm going to bring to the stage my friend Eamon Store back, and we are going to have Vic and Kelsey join us one last time for a final call to action. And then we're going to have Jonah and Jamie join us, and I have some exciting commitments and announcements. So as I said when we launched the forum this year and on and off throughout, we really are looking for commitments, concrete action, and impact from the forum. You may have heard, I can't remember if Hillary mentioned it, but her big solar projects in Washington State, the idea for that started at the forum in 2017. The Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation and Fiji and a law firm helped put together rural electrification for small islands. That all started at the forum in 2016 and is now spreading to bring rural electricity to islands around the world. We want to spark those kinds of big scale change here at the forum. So we're asking everyone to make commitments between now and the next, and we look forward to hearing from you on those. But one way we can make commitments is to support the youth leaders who are here with us. So the projects that you heard about today, how can you support and be involved with supporting those projects going forward? How can you support Vic and Kelsey and the work that they're doing, and Jonah and Jamie? So that's how we're going to wrap up the forum this year. Please join me in welcoming Eamon Store to the stage. Eamon. I'm going to hang out.
I've got a bit of a mess of notes here, so bear with me. Is Mark Brand here? Can we see him?
I'll get him.
Is he here?
I don't know. I don't see him.
It's Mark
I'll
Brand's
text him.
birthday, by the way. Does everyone know that? Has he gone? Hopefully you'll see him tonight. So I was really hoping that Daniel Dart would sing Mark Brand Happy Birthday in a sort of punk rock kind of... He's not around either, but he's probably dropping F-bombs all over Ketchum somewhere right now. So we'll have to do that later. We'll have to sing him happy birthday because he's been on the farm. Only Mark Brand would be on a farm in the mountains with kids from secure and insecure communities, teaching them to make food and stuff on his birthday. So what a great start to the day that they've had. What are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to finish actually by, as Aimee said, having some recap on from the youth that we spoke to and that we listened to, and I think overall was certainly for me the highlight of. There were lots of highlights actually, but one of the highlights was speaking to them, listening to them, and hearing their thoughts. And I want to just touch on a bit that I talked to the youth forum about yesterday, which is about measurement. And these ideas that you've got are brilliant, right? They're really good, and part of the beauty of them is their simplicity. But we need to measure them, because as soon as we can start to measure them, we can get companies to get involved in them, and we can start to roll them up to things like the SDGs, and we can start to show effect. So I talked to you about that before, and we talked about it briefly yesterday. That you're making me laugh just looking at you with your passion for composting. You guys missed a good session. It wasn't the youth session yesterday. There's never been a person more passionate about composting, I can't say that as a Brit, than that group. But where was I? I'm distracting myself. Yes, the SDGs. So we've got to measure this stuff, because as soon as we can start to measure it, businesses can get attached to it, because big corporations want to show that when they invest in things like schools and programs, that they can record it and measure it, because it's good for their PR and it's good for their story. And that's what I do. I spend a lot of time as FairShare at connecting the two things together. So I can persuade senior business leaders to get more involved in community projects and things on the ground that make a difference, and do it in a more authentic and meaningful way. So for all of you, I think all three things, I went back and looked at them, all three of your ideas rolled up to at least 5 SDGs, right? So the question you've got on your head is, how do you do that? It's not hard, it's really easy, because there's people, who's up there? There's people that are distracting me. There's people that are making it easy for you to roll up, because the problem with the SDGs is they talk about it in the UN, and businesses sit together and talk about it in New York. It doesn't actually mean anything to people on the street unless we understand how to connect with it. So I say to all of you, look up, I told you about a young lady called Kelly Lovell. She's got a thing called My Effect. There are other people doing the same thing. When you get your programs, look at My Effect, understand how the app works, because it doesn't require you to do anything complicated. Record your time, connect it to the SDGs that relate to what you're doing, and you can roll that up, and next thing you know, you've got a pilot. So it's really important to think about that. I spoke to, for Eloise in the Sun Valley School community, we spoke to Sarah. Sarah Cowes can't be here, unfortunately, because she's got stuck with the weather. But she's committed to joining on that project. She's committed to every student to give you those bottles to earn. We just need to put the proposal together. We need to put it... Where's Eloise? Are you here? Are you here? You're in the background. You're back there somewhere. You're up there. There you are.
Come on down.
Come on down. Let's embarrass you again. We'll put you on the stage again. So what we need to do is we need you with Aimee's team, and I will help you. It's really simple. We will put that program together. Come on. We'll put it together. We will pilot it. We will roll it into the SDGs with my effect, and then you'll have the first pilot successful. What we need to do, as we do these things, we need, when you succeed, then hundreds of other schools can succeed, and then we start to create a movement. So thank you for your idea. What else did we do? So I love this stuff because we're hacking stuff as we're here together and doing it and calling people and getting them involved. So what else did we do? We nearly got Kelsey in front of 60 senior business leaders on Tuesday, and we nearly got the documentary and Christy in front of them. We might not be able to do it now because Kelsey's going to be busy going somewhere else, but we'll get back to it if we can't do it this time, and we're going to do that. Because we want to put this voice in front of one of the biggest ad agencies in the world as part of the WPP group, because they spend all their time sitting in rooms talking about how they're going to connect to youth. That's what they don't understand what youth are thinking about and the way they think they do. So we're going to do that. We had loads of offers of space. That's really cool. So Mark Brand, Bruno, are you in the audience? Yes. There you are, Bruno. Thank you. The Sun Valley Institute, Wonderman Thompson as part of WPP have 60 offices around the US. They've offered, all those people and companies have offered to engage with the youth movement.
When they come up, they'll talk more about it.
Talk about that.
Yep.
Am I putting the cart before the horse?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit.
Right.
Okay. Maybe I should just shut up then. And I'm going to ask Kelsey to come up and share some closing thoughts and a rallying cry for what you're going to be doing next.
Should I use this mic or the other one?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Oh my gosh! To all of you, let's go. Start us off. Yes, 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 yes. Olivia. Yes. Okay, Hunk. That's right. All righty. You know what? Honestly, I mean, technically, it's like if you're under 25, but who's counting, right? So we got you. Okay. Thank you so much, Sun Valley. Yeah, you can clap. That's you. You all welcomed people from all over. Argonian here. Sorry. I'm like really proud of Eloise and that whole team. You all welcomed people into your space to talk about the most critical issue of our time and all the plethora of ways that people are engaging in this issue. But what you did is you brought youth to the forefront, and you exposed us to people who are leading this issue, but you welcomed them to sit back and pay attention to how that vision of the future is going to be constructed depending on who's going to be most impacted by those choices. And that's really cool. The reality is that youth, we really matter. We matter. I matter. Olivia, I matter. You matter. I want you to say it. You matter.
I matter.
I matter. I matter. And so if you're not a youth, please, I implore you, what does it mean to elevate a youth voice? How do you know that they matter if you are not listening? If you're not actively listening? If you are not welcoming that space for young people to show you how they're going to be confident in their survival. How are you going to welcome that space? Just this last afternoon session, we had an amazing lineup of panelists on storytelling, and thank you so much to the Years Project for coming, being able to make it, for persevering. But in that lineup of individuals speaking about storytelling, it's interesting that I actually did raise my hand to give a question or point, I'm not really sure what, but I'll share that now. And that's, we talked about, well, what is the story being told and how is it being told? And I wanted to interject as the subject of one of the stories, and that the reason that we're not talking about Democrats or Republicans is because we're talking about something so much more than that. We're talking about survival of humanity. And in that particular case, on the Youth v. Gov case that Vic and I are both plaintiffs of, on holding our government, our federal government accountable, or our government accountable, to be quite honest, when those decisions were made, we didn't give a blank about who was in office, if they were Republican or Democrat, because we weren't born. And even when we filed this case, most of us couldn't have voted for those individuals anyways. So the story that we want to tell, is about us, the young people, being disproportionately affected. Us, the young people, feeling empowered and feeling inspired to take over spaces and asking for that invitation. That's the story that we want to tell. We want to tell a story of hope, a story of inspiration, and a story of community. That's how we're all in this. Like I said in the panel yesterday, when I first joined, I burned out at 11 because there was no one that I felt I could share this movement with. There wasn't really a movement, certainly not a youth movement. But the times have changed. And it's so amazing to think that all of us together are building that every day. But it is a movement, and it requires momentum. And so places like this, spaces like that, are constantly driving that momentum. And I encourage Sun Valley, and I encourage all entrepreneurs, business leaders, artists, brand makers, storytellers, please, how are you going to continue to show up in a way that opens up space for youth and elevates the vision that we demand and that we have every right to?
Woo!
It's a tough act to follow, Vic, but you got this.
Yeah,
I know you got it.
This will be easy now. What I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to read to you guys something I wrote that I think is within the frame of what we've been talking about here. It's a piece that I wrote on resilience, which I think is fitting, considering this is a forum held by the Sun Valley Institute of Resilience. And then with a call to action at the end. I don't think I need this.
I forgot my mic's on.
Resilience. The capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. A word that's often used to positively characterize someone or something. A word often used to inspire the change makers, organizers, and the leaders. We often forget, though, in our world dominated by social constructs, in our world dominated by hierarchies, that resilience is not always grasped for or striven towards. Resilience is absolutely necessary. Some of us are blessed with the ability to withstand the unthinkable in our blood, in our brains, in our ancestry, and in our history. My mother migrated from Trujillo, Honduras, to Brooklyn, New York, overcoming language barriers, racism, sexism, and xenophobia at the age of 16. Her mother made this journey before her, leaving behind a family, crossing an unknown land, only to be subjected to a society that couldn't even see her as human, but rather for some paper money that we've determined is necessary for a fulfilled survival. They've sacrificed to provide me with a life that could allow me mobility to be happy, to be successful. They understood giving up their own comforts to protect a life not even introduced to them yet. This is what we've been asking those in positions of leadership to do for years in regards to ways in which we protect our land and protect our communities. This concept is so foreign to them that they still act in ways that could cause irreparable damage to youth and generations to come. Resilience isn't learned, it's given to you by the adversities life has awarded you. This is why, in order for us to appropriately fight the powers that hand away pieces of our environment for profit, we must enlist the people who have been on the margins of society forever. Had the women in my family been born into a different reality, maybe an easier one, they would have never been gifted with their strength. It took me 2 decades of being Latinx, Black, and queer for me to realize that I've developed mechanisms for resilience that I didn't even know I had. I was born existing as a person who would always need protection from those in power, and I'm not alone. This is the case for a lot of people who don't fit the mold of what society upholds. People who are of color, people who identify as women, people who are poor, people who are queer. In today's world, we uphold resilience as a necessary tactic for change, but ignore those who have been utilizing it to survive since the day they became themselves. The people on the front lines of the issue that plague our society have been born with one of the most integral skills for fighting their misfortune. It is a responsibility of those with privilege, who recognize the issues and have the capability to dissect gatekeeping language, to respect all of the inherent strength that already exists within marginalized communities, and provide platforms for that strength to be shared and highlighted. The resilience of these communities is tested every day around the world. Inuit communities in Alaska facing coastal degradation, Black communities in the bayou facing rising sea levels, whole nations of people who are being relocated due to a climate disaster that they haven't even perpetuated. When we consider climate disaster, we have to consider that those being impacted have historically faced hostility from outsiders, protectors, institutions implemented under the guise of order. We're at a point in our history where we see the faults of the imperious world that we've arrived at and manifested every day, whether through environmental racism, police brutality, gun violence, unfair distributions of wealth, or one of the many other injustices that exist in today's world. Climate change impacts all humans in the way that it puts our main life support at risk of degrading to a point of no return. This current situation comes as a result of major disregard for underrepresented communities. This major disregard for underrepresented communities comes as a result of the exploitative culture of those who have instead learned from the people of those who could have instead learned from the people they colonized, those who could have learned the beauty in survival, those who could have learned the beauty in hardship, those who could have learned the beauty in protecting generations that are to come next. Climate change is impacting those who have the most to teach our culture. And so this is my call to action. This is what I ask you to do. It's time that we stand up and ask the figureheads tasked with representing a diverse array of human lives to listen to the people who know everything there is to know about preserving their existence. We have shown them that resilience is created in communities that they ignore. We have shown the world that ignorance has been breeding strength for some time now, and that we intend on using every single ounce of power that we have. I ask you to uphold your neighbors and your community members who have never been held by those in power. Do it for people like me, do it for yourself, and most importantly, do it for a future where all of us can thrive together.
How do you follow that?
Should we get off the stage now?
No, you stay right there.
Absolutely
you stay
not.
right there and suck it up.
I guess I would just say that thank you. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for trusting Christy, who encouraged you guys to come. And, yeah, sorry. Whew. Sorry. They're so much more fearless than, anyway, so many people I know. But Al Gore gave me a stage in the Rio Summit in '92. He trusted me when I said, hey, can I get a pitch for the youth of the United States? And he's like, this group of young Americans are asking me for the stage, and I don't know what I'm going to say, but I want to give them a chance. And he gave that to us in 1992 when I was 22. So, and Secretary O'Leary was my boss at the Department of Energy when I was 24, and she picked me up a couple years later and brought me into her office in a higher position to give me an opportunity. And so we pass it on, right? And you guys are now the people who are going to lead us forward. So thank you. Okay, so we're going to continue passing it on. So passing it forward, we're going to have Jonah and Jamie come up to the stage one last time, and we are all going to stand with them and give them everything we have to help them succeed going forward.
Hi.
Sorry.
All right. Maybe here, maybe there. Just gonna hang out? Cool. We're going to hang out. We're all one big happy family in the climate justice movement. Anyway, for those of you who didn't see us yesterday, my name is Jonah Gottlieb, and I'm the executive director of the National Children's Campaign. So what we do, thank you. Yeah, sure, we can clap for that. So what we do is we make sure that elected officials are prioritizing the issues that matter to America's 74 million people who are too young to vote. Because we believe that just because of your age does not mean that you shouldn't have equal representation among your government. So we focus on issues like the climate crisis, like gun violence prevention, like LGBTQ+ rights, like economic security, and so many more, because these issues are intrinsically linked with the survival and the well-being of my generation and all subsequent generations. So we know that youth have the most political power and the most leverage of any demographic in the entire world. And that is because people care about children. Every single politician will have some sort of ad where they have pictures of them with youth. Every single company will have kids in their ads or have a youth advisory board. Everyone likes to pretend that they care about children. And then when it's time to vote, we forget about that. And then we vote for someone who denies that climate change exists. We vote for someone who continuously destroys our environment and destroys our future over and over again, and that cannot stand. So as youth, we need to take back our power and realize that our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, our teachers, our families, our friends need to be speaking for us in the ballot box, and they need to be demanding that our politicians and our elected leaders are fighting for us every single day that they're in office. So, how do you all come in? So first of all, thank you all so much for inviting all of us up on the stage. It is so important to give power and to amplify youth voices. It's why I'm in this, is to just make sure that every single young person has their voice heard in our political process. So I thank you for giving us this platform. So National Children's Campaign, just to plug our next event, we've had a soft launch, but our first big event is a presidential forum at American University on September 15th with a bunch of the presidential candidates. And we need your help. So I'm just going to be straight up. We're a nonprofit, and we need money. So, and the reason I say this is because in the climate justice movement, there are youth working their butts off every single day for hours at a time. You know, for me personally, I'll go to school, I'll come home, then I'll go to soccer, then I'll study for the SAT, then I'll work for 5 or 6 hours on climate justice. And that is my privilege because I don't need a job to support my family. I have the resources to go and fly to DC with the expectation that eventually we'll raise enough money that I'll be able to reimburse myself. But for so many activists, people who are passionate and talented and motivated, but they don't have the financial resources, they're unable to do the work that Jamie and I do, that Vic and Kelsey do, because they don't have the opportunity, because youth organizations, youth activists are not getting the funding that they need. Young people are working their butts off, and if they were adults, they would be getting paid thousands of dollars for their work, either working for nonprofits or working on behalf of other organizations. And so we deserve to have the funding that these other big organizations do. So I humbly ask all of you, please support us in any way you can. I have a big stack of business cards. Please help support us. If you can't support us financially, lend your office space for youth to come and organize. Promote us on social media. If you have any, job opportunities so that young people can get experience within another organization fighting for what they believe in, Make that known, make that public, and provide an opportunity, provide a stage, and provide a voice to young people, just like the Sun Valley Forum has done for us. Thank you.
Okay, so now for the final announcement of the evening of this amazing forum. I'm going to be talking about the climate strike. So for those of you who were not here yesterday to hear our panel, my name is Aimee Margolin. I'm 17. I'm a founder of the 0 Hour Movement, which is a youth climate justice organization that organized the first official youth climate march on July 21st of 2018 in Washington, D.C. and 25 cities around the world that laid the groundwork for the climate strike movement and made the current climate strike movement possible. We also recently just organized the Youth Climate Summit in Miami, Florida, and trained 350 young people to be climate justice activists in that Miami community. So most of us are under voting age, all of us unpaid, all of us working our butts off outside of high school. And we are cooking up some more stuff for you. You've seen Jonah and I, or you maybe haven't seen Jonah and I, because we've been running around on calls, working on cooking this up, being at a conference, but then also organizing, finding little rooms to just respond to hundreds of emails and make a bunch of calls. So, who's ready to take some climate action with us? Woo! Okay, so this is what's happening. September 20th is an international day of global climate strikes, where everyone of all ages is striking for the climate. 0 Hour and the National Children's Campaign is partnering with many DC local organizations to organize a massive youth climate strike in Washington, D.C. on September 20th. If you are in the Washington, D.C. area, follow 0 Hour on social media. Everyone get out your phones. This is 0 Hour, and we will be posting information about this for you all to come join us and strike in D.C. We also do need financial support for that strike and for those events, so I unfortunately left my very fat stack of business cards at home in Seattle, so you can find me and I can give you my number via the virtual way. So for those of you who cannot strike in DC, how many of you are from Seattle? ? Ooh, there's a few of us. Well, I know that Seattle is a lot closer than DC for a lot of the people here, so I also wanted to let you know, if you can't make it to DC, of another strike event that will be happening. So on September 20th at the Amazon headquarters in Seattle, I will be striking along with several other young people in Seattle who will be striking at the Amazon headquarters for climate justice, because it is time that we not just hold governments accountable for this issue, but also we have to hold corporations accountable, because a lot of times most of the rage and public outcry is going to the governments, while corporations sneak around the back and destroy and take, and corporate greed has to be held accountable in order for us to solve this climate crisis. So please join us for the Amazon climate strike on September 20th in Seattle. If you live in Seattle, or would you like to or you live here, but Seattle's a lot closer to you than DC. To find more information, I've been posting about it on my socials. If you pull up Instagram or Twitter and just put in Aimee Margolin, you can find more about it there. And I'm here to answer any questions. So without further ado, I say we close it off. We close this off with a little energy. So I need everyone who is physically able to get up out of their seats. Okay? Yeah. Good. Okay. We're going to do a little chant, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm someone who finds myself in my natural environment is at rallies and protests, and that's really where the power comes from. So we're going to start with the simple one. When I say, what do we want, you say climate justice. When I say, when do we want it, you say now. Got it? What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
When I say this is, you say 0 Hour. This is
0 Hour.
This is
0 Hour.
This is
0 Hour.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. This has been an amazing forum. You can come up to any of us and talk to us about climate action or whatever you want. And I really, again, would like to thank the Sun Valley Institute for having us and highlighting our voices. And thank you to all of the organizers who worked so hard to make this happen. As we just, at 0 Hour, just came off of organizing a summit in Miami. We know ourselves how truly exhausting and hard these things are to put on. So thank you so much. And to all of the organizers, I see you. This is not easy. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. You have one more thing?
I'm not on.
Okay. Eamon, are you on?
No.
Okay, wait, we just have really quick couple
One-
things.
one-
So anticlimactic after you guys,
Thank you.
amazingness. Definitely wanted to reinforce the two offers. Well, two offers. Bruno Sarda from CDP is offering office space in Manhattan for organizing. Chef Mark Brand is offering office space and kitchen space and everything else in Vancouver. Sun Valley Institute, we're continuing to offer space for youth forum participants, leaders to continue to organize here. We do have this space September 20th. So if we want to do anything remote when you guys are striking, we'll talk about that. And we'll strike with you. I could use a day off of activism and motivation and excitement, so thank you. I wanted to just call to the stage. Eamon, you had something to add, yes? And then I want to call to the stage just
I got one
couple
thing I
people.
want to do, because
Okay.
I don't know if we'll have a chance over dinner, is I just want, apart from thanking you lot for a good schooling in public speaking, I want to thank Aimee and Lexi and Susie and
Well,
Anne
you just
and
took it away.
Oh,
I was
shit,
going
I
to
wanna
have
thank you.
Lexi.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm
I
messing
want to.
up,
Oh,
but-
no. I would like to call up. Can I call up
Go for
Lexi? So Lexi Bergastis led our youth forum work along with Kaylin. Kaylin, come up too. But thank you. We never could have done this without her. The two of them. So since January, thanks to the other people I want to call up here, the Youth Council, Ruby Horton, whose idea this was from the very beginning, and the rest of the Youth Council, who every 2 weeks for the last 6 months have been on Zoom calls and organizing this across the country. Thank you, Trinity. Thank you, everyone who was on the Youth Council. Come on up, you guys, from Axel in New York, Thomas in Seattle, woo, Maria here. All right, yeah? Awesome, thank you, you guys. And then, I would like to call up the rest of the Youth Forum participants who are here. Can you guys come to the stage, please? Thank you. You guys can stay, yes. Okay, circle around. Okay, thank you, please. Because all of you contributed so much to this, and I'm really grateful that you guys decided to participate and are now taking forward the actions. Thank you. And then, all right, finally, I wanted to invite up Erica Linson and Susie Quinnell, who's my speaker coordinator, and Celia Christofferson, and the whole Sun Valley Forum Institute team. Please come on up, you guys, please. Come on up. Where's Erica? She's probably organizing the buses. Because Erica Linson is the ultimate problem solver. I'm sure you met her because she literally was helping everyone. So she's not here. I just really want to thank Erica for everything she's done. She's been an incredible resource. And so most of these guys are incredible summer interns, and the Institute could not have done anything without you guys. They are way better at social media than we will ever be, among many other tasks. And it's just an incredible opportunity to work with all of you and to have all of you here be part of the forum. Who am I missing? Anyone? Annie, where is Annie Keenan and the whole registry? Annie Keenan. Okay, Annie Keenan is our operations coordinator. Stay forward into the light. On the couch? Just in the light. Okay. Annie Keenan is our operations coordinator at the Sun Valley Institute, aka my right hand, chief of staff, amazing operator of this organization. Would somebody make sure that she comes out? That would be great. Do you mind? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with that, I'm going to wait for Annie to come out, and I just wanted to say thank you all for participating, being here, and being part of our community, our speakers, who were incredible and reminded us, like you all did, to reconnect with nature and our responsibility and our roles and how much we've been going down the wrong track. And as our friend Darren Perry said, how much we've screwed it all up. But also how much we can do to fix it. And I look forward to working with all of you to do that going forward. Thank you so much. Thank you. trying to get Annie up here, so I'm going to do a logistical announcement. They're very anticlimactic, but we have 2 buses leaving. The one in about 10 minutes. We're pushing it from 5 o'clock, which is in 3 minutes, to 5:10. So at about 5:10, the first bus will head with almost all of these folks and anyone else who wants to go up first to Galena Summit. We're going to have barbecue and hay rides. We're taking over the whole Galena Lodge. We're having amazing ice cream and fun. And then we have another one coming back at 6 to get us again. So be back at 6:10 for the second round bus. And there are people carpooling. Where the buses are going to be is on the street right on between the deck of the Limelight Hotel and Forest Service Park. So please go there to grab the buses, and please join us. It's just going to be fun and continued connection and celebration. Annie Keenan, please. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yay! Erica Linson, right here. Thank you. Who, by the way, was like, don't forget so-and-so, right? That's because she's always solving problems for everyone. So we could not do this without this venue. I would like to thank Tim Mott and Casey Mott and the whole team who made this venue happen, as well as, most importantly, the team right here on site. Samuel and the rest of the team, if you can come to the stage. Samuel, you're not doing AV back there anymore. I would love to have you guys out here. Samuel is a magical wizard, and we could not do this without him. We have something like 80 speakers, you may have noticed, and the slides and the AV and the miking. You guys, swapping out mics rapid fire. So thank you. This could never be possible without this new venue. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay, I'll see you shortly at the Galena Summit, I hope. Thank you so much for being part of this.